Hello there, fellow riders. This is Greg. I am your host for the Ageless Mountain Biker podcast. Technically, this is the second episode, but this opportunity came up to interview Brian Kennedy, and I haven't yet recorded the first episode, which is more like an introduction and into what the concept's all about. But so I wanted to get this out there. Actually, we're going to Bentonville for a week tomorrow, and I wanted to make sure this was out published. And you guys can enjoy it because it's pretty cool. 30 minutes with Brian. It was really a great time with him the other day. The podcast is really about as we're getting older, and everybody who's listening to this is getting older. So it's there's something for everybody. And as I'm going to be turning 56 years old here in a couple of weeks, I feel like the stoke is high, and I've always pushed myself, but I also have gotten better as I've gotten older. So I want to share some ideas with how to do that and really be a resource for guys who and gals who want to keep riding and ride harder and faster and get better. And progression and is kind of an important thing to me. It's not for everybody. If you're just wanting to ride and have fun, don't forget that riding is also fun. Progression is also fun, and it's more important to some than others. But that's kind of the basic idea. We're going to be doing a lot of interviews with other people as well. Brian's the first, but we're going to be more focused on sort of the mental game in riding, and not really so much focused on technique or how to do this thing or that thing. But it's what are you thinking about when you're riding, when you're challenged with something? How do you perceive it? How do you feel like you approach that mentally? And does it prevent or does it help or hurt? So I got some interesting ideas there as we go forward here. But today, like I said, there's a great interview with Brian. It's about 30 minutes long. We're hoping to get him to come to Austin here pretty soon. But that's really the first, like I said, the second episode. The first one is going to be more of an introduction and all the backgrounds and concepts and things that I want to talk about here. So we'll also be doing, product reviews. We'll look at nutrition. I do have a sponsor for my little endeavor here. It is dynamiccyclist.com. I ran across some a couple of months ago, and I was really looking for a program to help with fitness and stretching and those types of things and strength building. And this is amazing. It's $10 a month without using my discount code, which will get you an additional 10% off. Free trial for 7 days, literally no other charges or anything. $10 a month. It's a killer program. There's all sorts of levels where you can start at. So I highly recommend using dynamiccyclist.com. Really, it's blown me away with just the amount of resources you have available to you for that kind of money. That's fantastic. So use the discount code Ageless, AGELESS. That'll get you the 10% off. And they do a great job at supporting their affiliates. So I think if you stick with it, it's really a great resource. So be on the lookout for the first episode. I'm going to introduce that, or I'm going to record that here pretty soon. Again, it's going to be more the introduction of what this whole thing is about. And, should be, I may be able to do it while we're in Bentonville. We're going to be up there for a week, but it's going to be pretty cool. I think we got a lot of neat things lined up, and we just got to keep the stoke alive, right? And just a little FYI, there's also a Facebook page that I've started for the podcast, and you can check it out at facebook.com/TAMB podcast. And that'll get you into that page. I like to carry on, some discussions and different things there that we'll be able to discuss that we bring up here on our little podcast. And so I hope you stay around. This is going to be a lot of fun. I think it'd be a lot of great resources, a lot of good information, nice, kind of, I think, a unique approach here to, it's a physical sport, but it's also mental. And so I think there's some interesting improvements we can make to your riding. And I think also with each week, we'll have a specific challenge for you to go and help to maybe be a better rider and get the progression and the stoke and all that. So without any further ado, let's get going with Brian. All right. Welcome to episode 1 of the Ageless Mountain Biker. I'd like to welcome to the podcast Brian Kennedy of BKXC fame. Brian, how's it going?
Doing good. Thanks for having me,
Awesome.
Greg.
Yeah, you bet. I'm really happy that you're able to join us today. I think I kind of want to walk through a few things with what you're up to and some of the projects you've got going as far as your product line, your Trail One components, and once you get us up to speed on where that's at and what the new next product's going to be, what's going on there.
Yeah, Trail One, it's been amazing. We launched in November, I think. It's all kind of a blur because we've been working on it for years and years and years in the background. So when we actually launched it, it's kind of like, okay, this is out there. But yeah, we got some amazing components, handlebars, stems, and grips, and all kinds of stuff. There'll be more new stuff coming soon. And the big thing is having a give back. So we give back $1 for every product we sell to Trail Systems. And we did our first $1,000 donation for the Crockett Hills. The Crockett handlebar is what was our first kind of marquee product, and the trail guys over at the Crockett Hills have ordered some tools, and I'm waiting for them to get those tools so we can actually take a couple pictures and be like, hey, we did it. We actually came full circle on this thing. So
That's
it's
awesome.
been really, really cool to have some good high-end stuff out there, stuff that I love and that, everyone on our team loves.
Partnership with Worldwide Cyclery, right? Those
Yeah,
guys.
Jeff,
Yeah.
the founder of
Mm,
Worldwide Cyclery, he's kind of the main taskmaster and like pulls everyone together. And then we have this amazing industrial designer guy, like mechanical design column in Ireland, doing amazing work, actually building the stem from the ground up, building the grips from the ground up, and
awesome.
coming up with sweep and rise and design of all these different products. And it's pretty amazing. I could have never
Hmm.
ever done any of this on my own.
All right, that's awesome. So yeah, I think I was looking through some of your old videos going back to I started probably not really that much after you started your channel. I started following you,
Cool.
and it's kind of funny to go back. Did you ever go back and watch some of the early videos or?
Every once in a while, it's funny too because
Yeah,
it's like some of them are a little too zoomed in. The videos usually okay, but I'll watch an old one and be pretty amazed at like how interesting and funny and how well I cut it together, and that it's not too boring. And I'm pretty glad with, oh wow, this was actually good when I first
it
started. It's
holds
kind of
up.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because it's one of the things I want to talk about is progression, and you see what your writing was like, 5 or 6 years ago and how it's different now. And I think the technology, the bikes have been changing so much. Even in that time period, it's like they're really made things not necessarily easier, but they're just more capable. So you're riding in a Orbea. What is it you have now?
I've got a Ripmo, Ibis
Oh,
Ripmo,
so that's right. I was
29
thinking of
inch. Yeah, I had a
that's right.
Orbea a couple years ago. My timeline on that is very fuzzy as well. But when I started my channel, I had 26-inch wheel Yeti
Yep.
SB6.
Oh wow. Yeah. I remember those days. So when did you start riding actually? What was your
It's kind of fuzzy. My first memory of a mountain bike ride was like in sixth grade with my best friend's dad. He used to ride at our local trails all the time, Rockville, and go ride from his house and go miles and miles. And we were always like blown away by it. And he took us out on a ride because I guess I had a bike. I don't know, remember what bike it was or whatever. And went to Rockville one time and just remember pushing our bikes up a hill, and so that didn't
nice?
really stick then. But then years later, kind of around 2006, when after I graduated college and I moved back home, I started riding with my uncle pretty much every Saturday morning, my uncle Dennis, and we'd go to the Crockett Hills. And this was before there was even trails. It was just fire roads. And I would
Mm,
just love spending time with him. I would work nights and weekends. So I would get home at midnight on a Friday night, get to bed by 1 a.m., and then wake up the next morning at 6 a.m. just to ride with my uncle and get out there and get the day started. So that kind of is where I started mountain biking more and more, but I didn't really get hooked until a few more years later. Maybe 2010 is really when I started going every single weekend with my brother.
that's awesome. Yeah. So when you were here in Austin, I think you've been I know at least twice.
I don't even remember. I think it's only once, but now
Really?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, maybe I did. Was it twice? Yeah, I have no idea. I do not remember.
Okay. So I know your
I was
channel's
hanging
taking
out
you all
with
over.
Eric from No Front Brakes,
Yeah, and
and that
Seth.
was different than I'm it's a blur for sure.
So yeah, one of the videos you had Eric and you had another Eric who is the builder of one of the trails that our house is on. Actually, is
Oh yeah,
so
Brushy
yeah,
Creek, yeah.
exactly, yeah. So that was a good one. But when you were in Austin, what was your standout? Do you remember any trails that really stood out to you?
No, because
I know it's hard
like
because you're all over
I
the world.
definitely want
So
to go back and do it again because, like I said, like wait, okay, I did Cat Mountain. That's what it was. It was yeah, Seth and Eric. We did Cat Mountain, and that was like extreme. It was really
yeah.
pretty eye opening how extreme that trail was, and that was pretty amazing. And that was just Seth working out there and getting permission and just making it more and more all the time. And I'm
Hmm.
curious. That would be really cool to actually get back there and see how big and nasty it is compared to the last
Oh,
time I rode.
it's getting nastier and nastier all the time. But yeah, so the kind of the heart of the trail system systems for me, anyways, is the Barton Creek Greenbelt, and that was where you and Eric were when you were crossing, and you almost
Yeah,
slipped off and fell off the wall of the water.
yeah.
That was pretty funny, but that's kind of what I consider. I think most people consider that to be like the old school, Austin mountain biking scene. But there's so many trails out here now that I mean, there's hundreds of miles of trails. Well, there's 130 just in one network on the south side of Austin.
Yeah.
So that's a fun ride. We do Tuesday night ride there, and I'm one of the ride leaders for that. But yeah, it's just you got to come back and just see there's some new stuff that you're gonna love.
Nice.
And one of the things you're gonna notice that you probably picked up on is that the trails are in the area are pretty chunky.
Yeah.
So they're all a lot rocky and technical and stuff. So I feel like if you can ride out here, you could probably ride just about anywhere and be comfortable. So,
That's great.
the first time I went to Bentonville, it was probably like 6 years ago. We just assumed everything was rocky. Like every
Yeah.
trail in the world is going to be like Texas,
Yeah,
but
yeah. That was
there's
your
no
frame of
rocks.
reference.
I
Yeah.
was like, this is awesome. So yeah, it's nice to get out to some smooth trails every once in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you were at Mount Nebo. I was the video that got me turned on to that place. So we've been out there in Northwest Arkansas a couple times there. What was your favorite part about that? Was like just this crazy fun downhills. It's
Oh
amazing, right?
man, the whole thing, the total package,
Yeah.
Mount Nebo, that was about a year ago, right around this time too. But
Yeah.
the total package of just a really cool climb from the bottom, and you actually had a lot of elevation, and then after the first climb, there's kind of a rocky test kind of area, and you get traverse a
Mhm.
little bit, and you go up to the top with amazing views, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
just that was I cannot wait to go back and ride that again and make a video again and put that on the Trail One list, because the other thing we're trying to do with Trail One is create that Michelin guide for mountain biking of what are the best trails, what's worth an actual day off to actually go out and spend, because we all have ideas kind of sorta of what the good trails are. And there's the IMBA epics where I just feel like everything on the IMB epics list is 20 miles of single track. That's
Yeah.
that's like the base
The
level
standard.
versus
Yeah.
there's plenty of trails that are like Hangover and Sedona is 8 miles long, but it's one of the most blood curdling, most fun, crazy trails of all time that if
Right.
you're an expert level mountain biker, it needs to be on your list. So I think there's room in the world for a different kind of list, and that's Mount Nebo is going to be on it. But I have to actually go and make another video and do a write up and put it on there. I can't just go off of my past videos.
Right. Yeah. I have a local there who might be able to, he's our guide each time we go out there. So he shows us around
Nice.
all the good stuff. So one thing you might think about going to up there in the same sort of area is, I don't think you've been, but Buffalo Outdoor Recreation Center.
Yeah, I did that. I did that.
Did
That
you
was
did? Okay.
really cool. The shuttles,
Yeah.
and that was intense. The
Yeah.
BOC is intense.
We're starting this trip with the day up there. So
Yeah.
it's going to be good.
Breaking bikes and breaking bones.
Yeah.
Somebody's not going to make it through that first day. I guarantee it.
Well, don't tell my girlfriend. So it's funny. Yeah. So we're headed up there. We're going to spend most of our time in Bentonville, but we're going to start
Cool.
out there. Yeah. It's going to be awesome. What's your favorite trails? Like your favorite place to ride when you're going back, you're excited, and what does that stand out?
Bentonville is always on my mind. It really is, because they're always making new stuff, and I always like, the new is always cool. Because
Yeah.
there's certain places like Sedona. I really love Sedona, but it's more of like I have to visit it every 3 years or every 4 years because it's Highline, it's Hangover, it's the Hogs, and then you do all those. There's a couple other routes that I need to kind of explore a little more. The last time I did it, the airport loop was actually really cool, but you do those rides and then it's like, okay, you did Sedona. So you kind of have to, versus Moab. There's something about Moab where I just was there a couple weeks ago and did some of the old trails that I've done before, but maybe there's just been enough of a gap in time where it's like, oh man, Captain Ahab's still so much fun. Slick Rock's so much fun. And then I got to ride Portal for the first time, and that was an amazing experience. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of good places. Whistler, I'd love to get back to Whistler because it's been a couple years now since the pandemic and everything being closed down. So many places, old and new.
Yeah. So I'm going to mention Patreon. because that's a great way to support your channel. And I'm going to have that set up on my podcast as well.
Nice.
You did an early release video for Portal, which I haven't had to check.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that what I saw?
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
then soon I've got Slick Rock and Fruta coming up as well. And yeah, the Patreon's awesome. It's the only way that I'm able to actually do this, because $3 a month from a couple thousand people actually makes a huge difference versus the views on the videos on YouTube. They go up, they go down. My income drops at 50%, goes up and then goes down. You know, it's YouTube is so manic where it's like, oh, people that actually care and can do $3 a month on Patreon. It's the only reason I'm able to actually do this.
Wow. Yeah. And so YouTube is just it's also could be demonetized, right? So they
It's
could
the enigma.
change.
Yeah, you're always kind of at the mercy, and you try to play by the rules and you try to do what you think is going to be good, but you never know.
Right. Wow. Yeah. Who are there other YouTubers that you actually follow?
Oh man, all kind. BCPOV right now is making amazing videos, building stuff. He actually built a feature at our Everstoke at the land that me and Aaron have, and that video is going to be out pretty soon. He's been working on it, and I can't wait to see what he comes up with that video. And I haven't even been up there to actually ride the feature that he made. I was there helping out when it was snowing and we were building it, but that always look forward to his stuff. And then I watch a bunch of random other things on YouTube of people, like the Are You Garbage podcast is my favorite thing right now on YouTube, and lots of comedy stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I love Eric's channel too, and Yuka's got a good one.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about Everstoke. So what's up with that? What's going on there?
Yeah. So we got 91 acres of raw land that we're trying to turn into something, and hopefully this year we'll get some campsites going and people can come up, and we're just trying to get the basic utilities of water and toilets and, internet power, like stuff just struggling all along the way. I actually learned a term recently called yak shaving. If you're shaving a yak, I guess it takes all these different layers, and to first shave a yak, you got to do this, but then you need to do that. So that's like 100% what the Everstoke land is. It's like, okay, we need internet, but first you need power. But then how do you get the power? Is it solar? And then you build the solar, and the batteries freeze in the winter, so that doesn't work. So you got to do something else. Yeah. So it's endless, but it's fun when we're out there. It's so much fun, and the weather's already going to be nice again, even though it's in the higher elevations, and it's pretty cool.
It's in what part of California?
It's in the La Sierra, so it's an hour north of Truckee, Gray Eagle, California. It's like about an hour from Downeyville as well, if you know that by name.
Cool. So when do you think? I know it's shaving the yak can take a long time, but what do you think that's going to be like as far as the time frame on opening?
Yeah, it's like really hard to tell. Hopefully, who knows? But people in Patreon will probably be the people beta testing and getting to hear first, and like actually getting out there helping and stuff. So we'll let them know there, and maybe 10 years on public YouTube.
Oh, nice. Well, that's the key. There is Patreon is a good thing. So if you follow Brian, just get over to Patreon and subscribe there. So cool. Yeah. So like I said before, like I mentioned that I'm on the board for our local chapter of IMBA, and my girlfriend and I, Sheila, started a trail conditions page on Facebook. So
nice.
We're pretty active in the whole scene. So I threw it out there to the crew, like, what kind of questions would you have for BK? And so let's kind of walk through a few of those if you got
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. So Brian asks what it's like to have the best first name. He has another question too, but
especially if it's with an I, not a Y.
With an I, exactly. Yeah, he's the same. So he's saying and everybody was super stoked about this. So like really excited that we're talking. So it's gonna be cool. He says he'd like to know how he measures progress, and it means you as a mountain biker, how you measure your progress. And what is the overall opinion on progression? Some people, he says, get hung up on it, and then they forget that it's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, what an interesting question, because over the past few months, I think ever since I switched to the medium Ripmo, really, so I had ridden a large Ripmo, now I'm riding a medium Ripmo. I just feel like I'm getting way more fast, way more proficient at the techie stuff, and this is like 6 years going of actual diligent riding my bike at least a couple times a week, which I did that before as well, but never in, really good, tough conditions. And progression, it's so easy to get hung up on. That was a great way to put it, where it's like, oh, I gotta make this jump. Oh, I gotta get through this tough, rocky thing, where it's like, I've never really cared that much If it's something that looks like I could do it, I'll do it. If it's something that's kind of on the border, maybe I'll try it and push myself. If I don't get it, I don't get it. And then it just takes a lot longer to progress when you do it my way. But now I feel like I've progressed quite a bit, and going to Moab, riding with Aaron from MTBing Adventures and taking on all the crazy double black diamond stuff and doing all the nasty features. Yeah, pretty much everything. I don't think I walked one little bit, even though, you had to look at it and be like, oh, that's weird. And I, got stuffed a couple times, but very, very happy with how the skills have progressed. But it's just been the little baby step approach instead of like, I'm going to throw myself off this jump, and if I make it, I make it, and then maybe I'll always make it.
Or maybe not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's true. That's part of what my podcast is. The big things about it is going to be about progression. And, as we get older, I'm going to be 56 here in a few weeks. So I want to help people to make sure they can keep riding hard and fast. And you don't really have to slow down. I mean, I think there are things that you can do to keep the stoke and, and do all the things you're doing when you're riding in your 30s. I feel like I'm riding like pretty much in my 30s,
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So that's the whole idea of one of the many ideas of my podcast.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be cool about that. Yeah. Anything else progression? I think my point on watching your earlier videos is like, you've come millions and millions of miles. I mean, you think it was maybe baby steps, but I see like huge difference in the way you're riding back then.
Yeah, slowly but surely. It's been, 100,000 miles later or whatever, however many miles of riding,
Yeah, that's a good point. How many miles is that? Go back through Strava and check it out. All right. So that was Brian's. Dale saying he'd like to hear your thoughts on the future of the sport in the hands of the next generation of stewards, quote unquote. What do you find encouraging, and what, if anything, needs to change as well as reflecting on the pride that you must have because you're helping to cultivate a lot of that because of your channel and the things that you're doing?
I think there's an amazing opportunity if people realize how important stewardship is and how important volunteering and just getting and being involved in your local chapter, because there's always going to be diehards that get into it and put a lot of time and effort, but we also need people that are able to show up twice a year, and because that kind of can move the needle a lot more, and people that'll get on the mailing list and people that'll donate $20 a year, $50 a year, $100 a year, because it just doesn't operate in a vacuum. We have to realize, hey, these trails, somebody's working on them, somebody's messing with them and keeping them upright. And so often, at least in Northern California, there's such a weird thing where it's like city parks and it's entitlement of like, this thing has always been here, I don't know who fixes it, there's not a sign for like what the group is. Like, people just come and ride and then go home, versus knowing like, hey, we need to fix this, this is us, we need to do this together, versus it's something that's just given to us for free and we use it and abuse it and don't realize. But I think the future of the sport is really, really good, because the hikers and the horse people, they're fading away. I think it's very much an older generation thing, and the younger generation loves mountain biking and get on bikes. It's expensive, but if we can learn how to organize and galvanize and get together and show, hey, we've got thousands and thousands of users, and Bentonville being an amazing showcase of what mountain bike tourism is, and how, you can't really invent you could invent a place for hiking, a fun place for hiking, but you really can create a great place for mountain biking. You can create great trails, and you can create features, and you can create flow trails and jumps and tech out of thin air. You need money, you need land, but there's nothing like it in the horse/hiking realm and the outdoors realm, where you could just, boom, we're going to allocate a couple $1 million and we're going to create this hill. And skiing as well, as the weather gets worse and stuff gets warmer and there's less snow and that whole thing of skiing dries up, hopefully all these ski resorts will realize, holy moly, we can get 6-7 months of mountain biking out of this instead of 2 months of skiing. And the world's changing for sure, and hopefully everyone's going to come along for the ride.
Right on. Yeah, I think that's something we kind of battle a little bit in our local area, as far as in Texas, as there's almost all the mountain biking is either bandit trails or there's a lot of sanctioned trail that we oversee through our IMBA group, but there's a ton of bandit trails, like the Greenbelt stuff you rode I mean, very little of
Yeah.
that is sanctioned. And the stuff that like Reveille, you went out to Reveille Peak Ranch,
Private.
private land. I mean, like 10% of the land in the state is public. So we have a really unique problem that, the municipalities therefore are going to cover creation or maintenance of trails. It's really up to the volunteers and groups like the Austin Ridge Riders. So they're, helping to support that either through your efforts through work or actual building and getting out and getting your hands dirty, or support it financially. I mean, it's so important.
Yeah.
So
And
I
it,
think
it
that's
is getting done, right? Like, even though people want to say, oh, Texas, but like there are trail systems. Private landowners are willing to take the risk and have trail systems open. And, maybe that's even actually better than government land that has red tape and you need all these weird, crazy environmental impact reports and like all this garbage that it's like, okay, 10 years from now, you could have a single trail that's a mile long here versus private landowners like, yep, let's do it. Let's make some money.
let's go crazy. Yeah, there's Reveille is one of my favorite places, and so that's a great example. I mean, there's tons of ranches around here like that. So, but that's like a little Moab, if
Totally, especially because the
yeah.
terrain is like, oh, we can't really put cows on this. Like, what the heck
Yeah,
can we even do with it? Oh, yeah,
yeah,
mountain bikers would love it.
I
Huh.
would love it, and they do. Yeah, it's very popular, but you don't go in the summer
Yeah.
because it's freaking hot. But yeah, cool. So yeah, it's really engaging, right? And people, helping to create an environment that their work is appreciated, and that's key. I mean, we have to have
Yeah.
that. So
Participation. Just like, hey, if 1,000 people show up to a meeting, it's like, whoa, what the heck is this?
yeah, and so like all the South trails, those are none of it's sanctioned. There's 130 miles of trail in that network, and I mean none of it. There's maybe 5 miles
Little
or
bits and
something
pieces.
that's
Yeah.
tiny little bits, but so it really is literally built on the pure volunteer effort. And there's some leaders that are involved with that, which are kind of push the needle forward on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, we depend on people helping. That's got to
Totally.
happen. Yeah. All right, let's see. It was from Dale. Amanda says injuries. Let's see. If anyone has gone through life-changing injuries, have you? I don't remember anything that I on your channel where you've had like something that's been
No.
like a game changer.
No. In
blowout.
Spain, the last time I was in Spain, I kind of hurt my heel. Like, I think I broke a bone in my heel or something, but it never really affected my biking. It's only when I go off a drop, like, or flex my heel like that, then it's like, ugh. And even today, like, it's like if I hit like a drop really hard, I feel something in there. But like, it didn't stop me from riding. I think I was limping, but not missing any riding time or anything. So
Wow.
yeah, I've just been very deliberate. That's the thing. I've been very deliberate about baby steps, and I know what I can do and I know what I can't do. And sometimes I do test the waters and try something that I'm not too confident on, but that's what's kept me healthy and riding and uninjured. But my skills progressing maybe a little slower than you would think.
Right. Well, I usually break something at least once a year. I mean, that's kind of so. In Bentonville, one of the last times I cracked basically a finger in each of my hands on the same crash.
Oh,
So yeah. So
bent them back.
but nothing's been like, a shoulder separation or anything like that. So that's what
on
I'm
the
really,
shelf. Yeah.
yeah, out for 6 months or something. But yeah, it's just, as we get older, and tell me your age, or
I'm going to turn 40 in a couple weeks here.
that's what I was thinking. So yeah, as we get older, things change and your recovery time is a little bit longer and healing takes a little bit longer, but you haven't really been through it, so
yeah, so far so good.
Fingers crossed. So, and it always seems to me like when you crash, you're not really doing that crazy thing that you were scared of.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
Something
come around a corner too fast or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, but it seems to be what happens to me a lot of times.
Yeah.
All right, we got Clint. Got the last question here. He's curious how experienced riders deal with fear and condition response when approaching features that they may have crashed on before or are scared of because of a problem beforehand.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm trying to think. I've been to places multiple times over and over, and there, yeah, dang it. I can't think of an actual super spooky, tough feature, but I do remember, or actually doing this trip to Moab where everything felt smaller. Everything didn't feel as steep. Everything felt smaller after, traveling around, riding all this other stuff, and then coming back being like, oh, wow, that climb doesn't look as steep. Oh, this downhill doesn't look as nasty. And there's a weird thing your brain does where it's like processing. You just have to process millions of miles, millions of features, and you just get better, get better. Oh, that's not that bad because yesterday you did this, and before that you did that. And then there's such an odd thing, but I haven't, off the top of my head, I haven't had one of those features that was like, oh my God, this is horrible. I need to go back and do this again and conquer it. And because I ride such a variety of things, really, and stuff around here, I can't think of many things around here that are like, oh, my white whale kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's true though. It seems like my friend Jeff said this very well. I says, it always looks scary, but it's never as scary as it looks. That's not always true because there are definitely some things that are going to be way scarier than, but it's so funny that when you're nervous about something and then you just go and do it, then it's like, wow, there was nothing to it. You know?
And it's amazing when you watch other people do it and it's so smooth and their bike goes down it and your bike's supposed to go down it. And there's so much of that stuff where it's like, what, how? It doesn't add up until you do it. And you're like, oh, easy.
Yeah. Does it help you to see somebody do it right in front of you or do you
not always? Because it's funny because even if someone goes down some crazy drop and it looks super smooth, it's like, I have no concept of drops. Like, I don't know how fast you're supposed to go. I don't know where your body position is supposed to be. Like, that person could do it so smooth and be like, but going down a techie rock face or something, sometimes that'll help. But if the bike is all bucking around and they're like wild and they're like, oh yeah, it was easy. It's like, oh, that didn't help at all. So I don't know if it does help. It does help to follow behind someone pretty closely and just be forced to do it and they're doing the right speed. That always helps. But oh man, it's such a mind game.
Yeah, it is. And it's all, and that's part of what my podcast is going to be about, how to think about things. And so how do you're processing? I mean, when you're looking at something that's challenging to you, then what is going on in your head?
It's amazing that our brains can process and do it. And so much of it gets offloaded to, subconscious. That's the whole thing, is the more you do it, just like I can look at my phone while I'm going down a green trail, I can get my phone out of my pocket and look at my phone and I'm still riding on a mountain bike trail, but subconsciously is taking care of all the problems and the moving and stuff, versus going down a double black diamond trail. Your real point. Front of your medulla oblongata is taking care of it.
Right on. Yeah, no, I've been playing around with this a little bit, just as far as how you think about it. Reverse psychology can sometimes work too. Which is even weirder because you're like, I'm not really feeling it today. I'm like, then you go, God damn, I'm gonna get it. Yeah. So, but I always, the power of positive thinking, right? You're gonna, I can do anything, do this. Yeah. Then when you can't or you don't do it, then you're disappointed.
Yes. The confidence. So, it's like riding a wave of almost like lottery ticket stuff where it's like, oh, I got that. Oh, I got that. And you start to believe that you're actually good enough when maybe it was a 1 in 100 chance that you actually got through those features smoothly. I've seen a lot of people like that where they're just like, they're hurricane riders where it's like, boom, boom, like Tasmanian devil, where, okay, you got through that and then you think you're good enough and then you just have a crazy crash on the third try.
Right. Yeah. It's crazy how it works. It's just it becomes instinct after a while, but it's amazing the things that's going on in your brain while you're riding, especially around here with the technical, type of stuff we have.
Yes. Your body, your legs, your arms, your eyes. It's really
constantly
amazing.
Calculating. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the way I think of it is like, I check in, like I know some riders want to go and just check out, right? They just want to just forget about everything, but I go and my brain just like just activated, So
that's cool.
Yeah, I love it. So, well, cool, man. Yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to mention, or like what's going on with the channel? Or?
Check out the YouTube channel. I got more videos coming and I appreciate everyone watching.
Yeah, awesome. So hopefully we'll get a radar. An Austin trip will be on the radar at some point. So
I hope so.
All right. Well, sounds good, Brian. Great talking with you, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool.
Well, that's a wrap. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Brian's an awesome dude. Really looking forward to hopefully the next trip here sometime in the near future. Also, again, be sure to check out the Facebook page, facebook.com at TAMB Podcast. Also have a Patreon page set up. And so if you're interested in supporting my work here, it would be awesome. Like I mentioned, that is a little bit out of order because I wanted to do the introduction beforehand, but like I said, this interview I couldn't pass up. So went ahead and did that. But next time, the next episode will be about the concept and what the whole idea of it, how it started and why I think it's important. So be on the lookout for that. Hope you enjoyed it today, and we will see you on the trail.